I want to get to taxes, the big issue. First, I have to ask you about the president's remarks yesterday. He drew some criticism from members of your party for drawing a sort of moral equivalence between the white supremacists in Charlottesville and the counter-protesters. Is that an acceptable view for you, or would you like to see him denounce?
Yeah, look, for me, I'm strongly condemned. KKK, white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and the violence and hatred they bring to this. I think the president is right to call it repugnant to our nation. And because we're here at the Reagan Center, I think President Reagan said it beautifully. When he said the politics of racial hatred and religious bigotry has no place in America. It undermines the values we stand for, and I think that's exactly right.
You were trying to quarterback one of the most ambitious legislative initiatives, I think, in congressional history. With all this happening, with the polarized environment we have, and with the fact that these controversies have been dominating August, how do you get this done? Yeah,
so look, I wish every segment and every day was talking about this broken tax code and what we need to do to fix it, especially lowering rates for families and businesses and leapfrogging back in the lead worldwide. I wish that was every discussion, but there are other issues. And the reason, I think America is ready for this is because tax reform is all about helping every American. I mean, of every income size, of every size business, in a major way, improving their lives, letting keep more of what they earn, making sure they can pursue their American dream, whatever it is. And so I think this is the right issue for the right time in this country.
The 86 tax reform, as you very often point out, took 2.5 years to get done. And in between that was a landslide re-election victory by President Reagan. You're trying to get this done in under a year. Is there something you have that they didn't?
No, it is an ambitious schedule. We recognize that. But we're on that timetable. We've stayed laser focused. So as President Trump's tax team, Senate Republicans as well, on meeting the deadline for this year. Not that it will be easy, not that it will be just level all the way through, especially here in these final number of months this fall and through the rest of the year. There's going to be a lot of work to be done, a lot of votes to be held. We can get this, though. I'm absolutely convinced we can achieve it this year.
One of the challenges you face is public opinion right now. We did a poll at Bloomberg last month, and only 4% of Americans pegged taxes as their top priority, significantly less than healthcare, for instance, which was at about 35%. Do you have an enthusiasm problem here, and how do you overcome that?
Yeah, we don't, and here's why. Look, those polls tend to reflect whatever issue they see online or on the TV that week and that month. I'll tell you this, when I asked in my town hall meetings in Texas, across the country, how many of you are pleased with the way you are taxed in America? No hands go up. It takes 2 seconds for people to start laying out to me how frustrated they are with this code, how high the rates are, how many special interest provisions there are, and how many headaches for them. So no, I think there is a hunger in America for fixing the way Washington taxes us.
Democrats have launched this so-called not one penny campaign. In other words, they're arguing the top 1% should not get any net tax cut. There's public opinion that suggests that people don't think the wealthiest Americans should get a tax cut. Why not take that off the table and deprive them of that political weapon?
Because it's all about growth. And Democrats working with President Reagan recognize that as well. And so did President Kennedy in his tax as well. And we saw the economy step up in a major way. And that's what I think Democrats and Republicans are united in this. We've got to get more jobs, better paying jobs. We've got to stop this exodus of U.S. companies and jobs and manufacturing research heading overseas. That ought to be our goal rather than just picking out one provision in the tax code. And so I've reached out to our House Democrats to ask them, what's important to you in tax reform? Can we find common ground? We're going to continue to work with them to see if we can't do that.
Reconciliation is still the plan?
It is.
Okay. The first half of August, your committee has been very hard at work on this issue, but the president has ended up directing attention elsewhere to his feud with Senator McConnell, to a potential standoff with North Korea, and now all this talk in Charlottesville. Has the first half of this month been a missed opportunity, and will the second half be different?
Well, look, again, I want the president to spend every tweet and every discussion about tax reform. I think this is critically important. I'm confident he's going to be all in on and using the bully pulpit to talk about what's wrong with the broken, monstrous tax code we have and what this once-in-a-generation opportunity is. And again, he feels comfortable around this issue, believes strongly in it. His tax team is fully committed. So, look, I'm optimistic about him leading on a signature issue for America.
You've been dedicated to the idea of a permanent tax overhaul that doesn't just nibble around the edges. A number of your Republican Senate colleagues who I speak to are not that committed. Senator Toomey has said if it ends up being deficit neutral, it'll be an anemic tax bill. Would you rule out the idea of a temporary tax cut if that's all you can get?
Well, look, we're going to deliver tax cuts and tax reforms in some form. I'm going for the greatest growth for the greatest number of years for Americans. And the way you do that is you go bold. Just like President Reagan did, you go permanent so families and businesses can count on it, including those we hope will bring those jobs and supply chains back to the United States. You know, and you make it balanced within the budget. Tax reform should move us toward a balanced budget, not away from it. And so we're going to work with, I love working with Senator Toomey, a House colleague as well. He really understands taxes. So I'm looking forward to working with him to get this done.
The corporate and pass-throughs rate, there's talk of potential 15% or 20%. It sounds like it's negotiable to me. But my question is, how do you prevent individuals from abusing that rate by restructuring themselves? There are some experts who say it would take a significant expansion of the size and scope of the IRS. Are you open to that?
Yes. So first, we're focused on lowering the rates for every size business. It doesn't matter if you're structured as a corporation or you're that mom and pop in the first week of operation. To do that, we want to separate business from wage income. We think there are good ways to do it. We've worked with the Treasury Department almost since the day Secretary Mnuchin took office on this issue to make sure there aren't abuses in that area of the tax code. We recognize it. And I don't know that it will invite the IRS more into your life. In fact, this whole tax reform plan, the simplicity really moves the IRS farther out of our family and our business lives.
Finally, base erosion. The border adjustment tax is gone. This is a big goal of yours to prevent further base erosion. Are you open to a deemed repatriation idea that starts a decade later? Because there are Republican tax wonks who have suggested to me that would help pay down the long-term revenue.
Yeah, so we welcome those ideas. And clearly, border adjustment played a couple key roles in the House Republican blueprint. One, eliminating incentive for companies to move their jobs or the headquarters overseas, leveling the playing field here in the United States, and providing us revenue, like our competitors use, to lower rates. We had that debate. It's over. We've set it aside. But now we have to find other fresh ideas to do that. So we are looking at deemed repatriation, as was included in Dave Camp's draft. We think we've got a good way of moving this forward. You know, I want to see us move to a territorial system now. I don't want it delayed. I want it to be a permanent, to meet our competitors, permanently going forward. I want our businesses to be able to bring their earnings back at nothing or next to nothing to be reinvested in the United States.